This is day 1317. Let's see if I'm on. I'm very late. I'm burning the midnight oil. It's been oh, let me check something here. Oh, okay. So, all right. It has been a really busy day, but a very good day. And let me explain to you why it's a good day. It's not a great day. It's not the best day, but it's a good day. Anytime that um, even okay, everybody. 1317. Here we are. Thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate it so much because we know that this is going on so long. But this is what happens when you have the level of criminal enterprise uh, operating because of um, the failure to secure our military installations, the failure to secure our borders, the failure to do proper oversight. And I would say it's a faith issue. Okay, I would say from my faith, this is my opinion, it's a faith issue because these people are deceivers. And if they're deceivers, then they are in line, they're in cahoots with the devil. The devil is the father of deception, right? And so this is definitely an ideology. This is a faith issue because um, if you know God, if you come close to God, if you have a relationship to God, and you understand that He is the maker of heaven and earth, um, that all laws proceed from Him. Every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God is a law word, and that He is a judge of all judges. Um, you take your oaths more seriously because our oaths that we take to protect the Constitution, to defend the Constitution, um, it's under God. And so when you have that relationship, when you know that He is the judge of all judges and His will be done on earth as it is in heaven, when you have that faith, then you take your oath seriously and you also um, try to avoid as much as you can any kind of untruth. Um, so you don't you you avoid the devil, right? That's what we say when we're baptized. We say we reject the devil. We reject the deception. And so these um, these perpetrators who participated in the retaliation against Richard, um, who forcibly removed him from Fort Bliss and murdered him and dismembered him and disposed of his remains in different locations, and then covered it up with deception and deception and deception. That's what they are. They are agents of deception of the devil, and so that's who we're up against. Um, the light against deception and truth against deception. And you can the the ramifications of the deception is the money laundering, is the weapons smuggling, the ammunition smuggling, the drug trafficking, the child sex trafficking, the pornography, which is all pornography is child sex trafficking, and just the multitude of crimes upon crimes upon crimes, when it comes to tax laws and using property to launder money, using businesses to uh, do all the dirty deeds of the criminal enterprise, like Dreams Cabaret. But it's that's why they get into real estate, because they use that to launder the money, and then they make deals, and then of course the VA, come on, join us, and we'll give you 100% disability. All these little favors, and so that's why um, we have, HRC, right, which is supposed to prevent the conflicts of interest, are supposed to move around of all of our law enforcement so that they don't have conflicts of interest, that they're not tempted to develop a criminal enterprise and fall into um, an agent of deception, right? It's kind of like if you like J.R.R. Tolkien and the whole series of Lord of the Rings, you see where you can be uh, an elf, and then the deceiver will manipulate you and everything, and turn you into an orc, right? Turn you into an orc, and um, that's the grooming. That's why you have the sex cults, and that's why you have all of these videos, and then they use these videos against you, and then you just become an orc. You just become one of the agents of deception, and that's why there is so much in that area, which is so sad, because I remember when I was younger, and I'm not saying there wasn't any problems there. There's been problems there for decades, but this kind of shows my age. El Paso was always known as one of the safest cities, and um, but now you have the DA being dirty, and the AG being dirty, and Judge Madrano being dirty. Look, how do I know Judge Madrano is dirty? Just because of the status hearing, and then going and I'm like, he's not even setting a trial date at the he's not even doing anything. He's not saying, okay, well, let's have a scheduling, right? Let's have some do outs. Let's um that would be like the military way. What is the way a judge would say it? Scheduling. um I would just say 2 outs. Someone correct me, right? But one of the big things that I've been waiting for is the mental health evaluation of Patrick Crucius. Why can't he order that? Yeah, scheduling orders. That would be a good thing, way to say it. Scheduling orders. Why can't he schedule at least the mental health evaluation of Patrick Crucius? Because Patrick Crucius is not even attending any of these status hearings. Where is he? On the state side, he doesn't even show up. Why? Why? Because we have it confirmed that he's autistic. We have it confirmed that he has a severe mental health condition, not an illness, a condition. And so, why is he being the fall guy? And why is Judge Madrano not even scheduling? Why is he delaying this? We know because um, it seems that, well, we know from all the evidence. We've put together all the evidence. We've looked at all the evidence, the investigative research team. And absolutely, you see through the multitude of, because it's been years, right? We're in coming to the fifth year, and multiple articles and research done on the August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, Walmart mass shooting, right? And Why don't they want that to get a trial hearing? Because it's been just one delay after the other. And then Judge Madrano uses four excuses like Jaime Esparza retired. So that, I mean, he retired. It was more than a year and a half after I checked after the case. It should be almost done by then. And then you have the next person. There is something called a handover. A handover, I know in the military, they do that all the time. When you have the change of leadership, you hand things over and continue doing what you're doing. Um, but and Jaime Esparza, he has his own issues in this whole thing. But Madrano used excuses, and then he broke his own gag order by addressing the community. What's that about? I mean, isn't the community the jury pool? Is he tampering with the jury pool or influencing the jury pool? I mean, what is that all about? So, and we know that he has now, because of all of this happening, and we believe that whatever he does influences our son's case, because we believe that our son's case is tied into the Walmart mass shooting case. And so anything that he does is very important to us. So looking, saying, wait a minute, we need to make a complaint about this, right? And, how many complaints has he gotten in the past? Are we just being odd, or have other people been unhappy also? And come to find out, there's more than a dozen complaints against Judge Madrano. And guess who's one of them? Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. She even put in a complaint against Judge Madrano. So, this is not something that is just limited to us. This is, an ongoing complaint. And I think that the people of El Paso, especially the victims' families, they're very upset about the way Judge Madrano has handled himself. Now, talking about a victim's family, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is, I would say she's a victim's family, but she's up to no good. She's up to, just because you're a victim's family doesn't mean you're picopello, right? That you're picopello and that you're really, something is really stinky when it comes to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, okay? Because she's targeted our son's case, right? And she's targeted our son's case. And her residency is at 3905 Bliss Avenue with Danae Katzen. And Danae Katzen also, she's a con artist criminal. Con artist criminal meet, Rosa Maria has a allegation of assault against her, right? Assault with a deadly weapon, I believe. Assault with, even trying to follow someone around, or harass a person. Um, so there, and tampering and lying, um, perjury in court. I mean, there's something very stinky going on with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. Immigration fraud, and we have that with Tavita Nusa, with his dad, with Lalani Hart. We have this immigration problem because we don't secure our military installations, we do not secure our border, and we do not do our due diligence when it comes to placing the the right people in the positions of law enforcement and switching them out so that they are not tempted to become a criminal enterprise. Because this whole thing with Jesus Eddie Neto Jr. Being the FBI supervisory agent there for El Paso, that's why he has so many conflicts of interest because he's from there. Why is he there as the FBI supervisory um, agent? Okay, if he wants to be at home, if he wants to be at home in El Paso, well, go get a different job, open up a restaurant, uh, do, do something else. But you can't be in law enforcement because you have too many buddies, you have too many friends, you have too many connections, which makes it very easy to start a criminal enterprise and profit from it. And he did, and he did, and he's connected to Angela Kacherga on that one, which is the media, and she works for Kathleen Gannon, who is the wife. She also runs Border Zine for UTEP, but she's also the wife of Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, who has targeted our son's case. Okay? And I talked to Angela Kacherga. Angela Kacherga is really up to no good, really up to no good, because she didn't even care about the Vanessa Guillen First Absent Soldier. And that tells you something because she is sticking it to the Hispanics then. She is disregarding Vanessa Guillen and her situation, her victim. I mean, her murder, her vicious murder, everything that was done, the family has done to stop the sexual harassment that started that murder to roll in place, where she was also dismembered there at Fort Covassos, which was Fort Hood, under the same leadership, Lieutenant General Donna Martin of the CID, who is now IG, and she is policing herself, which is, this. The whole problem was to get rid of her there so that she's not policing herself, and now she's policing herself. It's from the IG, which is Inspector General of the Army. It really is a rigged system, and we really need to look at who's HRC, right? Who's HRC in this whole Romney land? I call it Romney land because, of the influence of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from Romney's perspective, from his family perspective, because his family, amongst a few other families, settled in colonial Juarez and created this really border connected community, and they're up to no good. They're absolutely, Felix Valenzuela is up to no good, and also connected with 3905 Bliss Avenue, which is Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, Thomas Hoffman, and Danae Katzen. So who is representing Danae Katzen? Right? Once they open the book up in a trial hearing, once they open this up, okay, just like a flower, they let it bloom, you will see Richard's case and the real perpetrators of the Walmart mass shooting. That's what you're going to see. Okay? You're going to see who murdered Richard and who murdered the other victims, the true murderer. Because, was Patrick Crucius part of this criminal syndicate? I believe he was. And I don't believe he drove 700 miles. I don't think, there's no way. That whole narrative is just insanity. And just to let you know where I'm coming from, that whole COVID thing, from the very get-go, when you're in an election year, when you're dealing with someone like Donald Trump, okay, that has the financials that at that time in 2015, what he had, right, going into the race. That's the first thing because I had never really heard of him. I didn't. I'm not a big TV watcher, and I never really heard of him. I kind of, in the distance, kind of heard of him. So the first thing I did was look at his financials. That's the first thing that we did. What does he do? What does he produce? How does he do it? Right? Yeah, I guess I just have that. I'm a math major. I want to solve the puzzles. And so I wanted to see what really is Donald Trump, who he is. What is he? What does he do? Right? And of course, I don't trust the media. I mean, before Donald Trump called it fake news, we knew it was fake news. We know it's fake news. Anybody that perpetrates Darwin's theory of evolution that is so racist, and then they say, oh, we're working against racism, but we're going to say that Darwin's theory that's so racist is true with billions and millions and billions of years, that's ludicrous. It's insanity. And why would I trust them without really discerning? Because there's always some truths in everything, right? Um, but monkeys are really there. But I don't come from a monkey, you know. Um, so why would I trust the news totally in whatever they say in their opinions? Of course I don't. Of course I don't. So whatever they said about him, I didn't trust. No way. That's why when Marlon Soto was smearing Richard with absolute insanity, I was like, no way. I don't believe, give me the evidence. Give me the evidence. And they don't have any corroborating evidence at all. They bring forth Boleyn, right? Who's been more of a help than a hurt. And I think she's absolutely a suspect in what happened to Richard. Um, but as far as being part of this investigation, because she absolutely testified that Richard was a whistleblower. And that's why they try to leave her out of all of this, because she's the one that testified that we have it on record that Richard is a whistleblower. And there's others too, but she really, really did it. And they tried to hide her for the longest time. And we know why, right? So, you know, and there's this thing about Dreams Cabaret. I just do not trust that she was working at Jaguars. Show me, your contract or whatever. I don't know. I don't believe. I believe that she was working at Dreams Cabaret with Lilani Hart. Absolutely. Lilani Hart was getting her mail at Dreams Cabaret. Dreams Cabaret is the hub of this, and Belen Rocha is also connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, right? So, and of course, she is related to Danae Katzen. They tried to deny it, deny it, deny it, but it's right there. It's as big as Dallas. It's as big as Dallas. They can't. Once this case opens up, and everyone sees the evidence, they'll understand um, how this all played out. That Richard was whistleblowing. He was whistleblowing, and um, there was an audit. Absolutely, we know there was an audit because of Brigadier General David Stewart. And we received information that his wife was absolutely Team Farm Richard Halliday friendly. And we knew that he was, but they talk about turning someone into an orc. I mean, they retaliated against him. Even as a general, they retaliated against him. And we saw it before our own eyes, and it was really, really sad. It was so sad. But he gave us a gift, and that is that there was an audit. There was an audit before he came under Clem Coward and Matlock, Major General Matlock, and it was corroborated by uh, Dirty Agent Soto, who said, "Oh yeah, it was the entire installation, not just Richard's barracks, that was being audited." And so they were in trouble because there was evidence of their criminal activities everywhere, everywhere. When you have so much criminal activity, something is going to be found. And a lot of people have for decades gotten very rich off of Fort Bliss, um, smuggling taxpayers' weapons and ammunition and um, supplies and parts over the border using tactical move storage units, and selling them and pocketing the money. And then, of course, selling the illegal drugs in the barracks. And the class 6 is right next to the barracks, so uh, that's uh, by design. Of course, it is. And then, of course, the Dreams Cabaret sex cult whole thing, where then you can blackmail them if you film them and things like that, and they're just and then you get into the child pornography, which is child torture. And yeah, they make a lot of money off of um, taking advantage of our young sons and daughters that volunteer to serve in the military. And the generals are in on it because they leave the installations unsecured. Okay? They leave the installations unsecured, and they give these jobs like DES to the likes of Thomas Kane that will go along with it for a pretty penny in his pocket. And yeah, the he leaves he left the installation unsecured, and we have a letter that admits that. And he also said that Richard was good food for the coyotes. And he also compared Richard's case to Vanessa Guillen's. They couldn't have another Guillen situation. And this is, this is the problem. The barracks should be secured in a place where the soldiers want to live. That is what is written down. That's the SOP, the standard operating procedure, but that's not what's happening. And so it's a big, big mess. And there was a lot of criminality, and Richard whistle blew, and they panicked with the audits, and they didn't panic uh, like you and I would panic. They decided to panic in a little bit of organized way, even though it didn't go right. And they wanted to make sure that it would be a white supremacist. They had to make it a white supremacist. We have to divide the community. We have to tell lies, because it's a total deception. Because 5 minutes of watching Patrick Crucius, and you absolutely know that it's a deception. Okay? And I'm German. I absolutely understand what the dangers are for, the Darwinist line of thinking, which is racism. And, so no way, I know it exists, but no way was it Patrick Crucius. Okay? No way. That's my opinion. And so the whole narrative, then you ask, well, who wrote the manifesto? How did that get planted? And where did he get his guns? And then, you have brown tip bullets at the crime scene. This is a tip that we got, and if that's true, brown tip bullets, and it's it fits very, very well with the evidence because of Glendon Oakley Jr. and rest in peace because he died. He was found dead April 8th of 2020, but he was the eyewitness to the Walmart mass shooting. The M4s, these people that looked to him like mall cops with M4s. And I'm thinking that these are military trained people that participated in this killing, this a huge crime. And I'm praying to God that the weapons used and the ammunition used did not come from the um, the arms room, that it did not come from the Fort Bliss arms room. That's what I'm praying because that's where my mind is going, my suspicion, because of the way all the evidence is leading. It's leading like this is a military trained operation. And if it's that with M4s, with brown tip bullets, um, pray to God that it's not um, that they didn't get those weapons and the bullets from Fort Bliss. And that would explain why they have gone to the level that they have to stop this from coming out and exposing. They really messed up. But they capitalized on the Walmart mass shooting in several ways. One, um, it really diverted all attention away from any audit to this terrible mass shooting, right? And two, it also allowed politically for them to put forth a 1.2 billion, I believe it might have been more than that, um, bond to be passed for a new police station for safety. And they did get one passed. I think it was for short of a billion, hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which doesn't make sense at all for El Paso because they have so many taxes already that they have to pay, and nothing is secure, and there's so much criminality, organized crime, and also favoritism to who gets these positions because they know each other, y'all. They all know each other. These are positions that you can't just get by merit, it's who you know. That's very, very clear in all of this. And even like Richard's car. Who got Richard's car? Who do you know? Who do you know that got Richard's car? So we know who, and it's all connected. And it's really, uh, we're just waiting for the day that it all comes out. And the main thing that people need to know is that Richard was forcibly removed. He was murdered. He was dismembered. They were looking for his um, his body in several different locations. Who said so? Uh, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, through, he said so. And who said that he said so? Well, his mouthpiece. He told me whatever Lieutenant Colonel Allie Payne says is what I say. So she said it, and that they were working with the Department of State to look in Mexico for Richard's remains. And we called the Department of State and talked to Ryan McMillan. And he also corroborated that they were looking for Richard's remains in Mexico in different locations. And then, of course, we have um, uh, Jaime Corona with DHS that, you know, was the liaison for Mexico saying, yes, um, you know, that's what's going on. Um, We have Nadal Baim, that the FBI found Richard's remains, partial remains, in Mexico, and that he's dead. And that, shh, you got to keep it a secret. This is a secret operation. You see, this is a secret operation. And we have a picture of that. Okay, we didn't make that up. We have a video of it. We put the picture up. We have a witness testimony on video less than an hour after it happened. Um, we have the uh, witness testimony at the FBI from Dolores Montanaz, who absolutely corroborates that Richard was was murdered. So and this all it will come out, and everybody will understand fully, including us, when the Walmart trial is conducted. And that's why they're dragging it and dragging it and dragging it. And why do I say that? Because it has to do with the same people, has to do with the same people that's in our son's case. And we will absolutely learn that Patrick Crucius, even though he is have been found guilty and sentenced to 90 life sentences back to back, that's like 8,000 years, okay? That he will, yeah, can you imagine? He will spend his entire life and more at the Alcatraz of the Rockies in Florence, Colorado. The very, I think it's our highest high security prison that we have. Um, and here we have the rapist, violent crime of Asia Graham, 18 years. You know, the unbalance. This is such an unbalance because there are murderers walking. Patrick Crucius did not murder all of those people on that day. Maybe some, but not all of them. And he was not behind the whole organization of it. There were more shooters, and it is very clear by the evidence. There's not a doubt in my mind, and this is my opinion, but there's not a doubt in my mind that the same people that organized, this Chris Grant, this David Johnson and Chris Grant, this the situation with Alexander Hoffman, these connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, Memo Garcia being outside, the whole thing with Glendon Oakley Jr. and his amazing testimony, and then he's found dead because they don't want that to be repeated, especially in court. And he's found dead April 8th, 2020, just months before Richard. And of course, Richard is not going to lie for them. And he wanted to be CID. He wanted to be CID. He didn't want to be a criminal syndicate. And he has no ties to El Paso personally. He has ties with us because I was born at White Sands, because we have some friends there in El Paso. I have a history. Rob has a history. We went to school there. But Richard, he didn't have those ties. He didn't have the ties like Dallas Hart. Why was Dallas Hart there anyway? This is what I'm saying. There's something going on in our military that is very, very dangerous. And there's a lot of deception, and there's a lot of criminal activity. And we need to get to the bottom of this for the sake of the real victims in the Walmart mass shooting, and of course, the victims there, and I'm including Glendon Oakley Jr. in this, in El Paso, on Fort Bliss, including Richard, our son. And yeah, we want to know the truth. And so we need you to share. And I know that there's so much uncomfortableness with this because it does have to do with the cartel. It does have to do with a binational crime scene. It has to do with Mexico. It has to do with our military that we love so much, but they have betrayed us. So it is uncomfortable. But um, we don't get to pick what battles that we stand up against legally and rightfully for to keep our freedom. And if we feel like it, or if it's convenient for us, or if it has less risk or higher risk or whatever, you know, this is what God has brought to the Halliday family. And, every day new things pop up, and we're like, okay, we need to bring this to the attention of the American people for the sake of our Constitution, for the sake of our son, right? For we want his remains. Um, we want to catch his murderer, right? His murderers, because there's several suspects in this. Because we don't want them to hurt anybody else. We don't want people to go through what we've been through with the vile and vulgar harassment and threats, which get to the last point. And this is why today was really a good day, because Bob Moore, um, Bob Moore, he said Richard's name today. And it was in a bad way. He threatened Richard's life today. You know, he threatened Richard's life. And I think that is uh, just by association with those that wish Richard dead, right? And that's really bad for someone that runs is supposed to be a neutral El Paso Matters that gets in 501c3 status, that he doesn't have to pay taxes. And we've reached out to him over 10 times, and he hasn't even paid us any mind. And Angela Kacherga did contact us, and she didn't care anything about the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. She didn't care anything about the Fort Bliss whistleblower. She didn't care anything about the U.S. soldier. She didn't care anything about our son. Our son. You know? Um, so she is a really key person in this. Um, and by association, uh, there was a threat on Richard's life today. Now, or they're saying that he's already dead, which we know. We know that he's been murdered, but they maintain that he's just missing, and then they threaten his life, and that is just such a disregard for Vanessa Guillen, such a disregard for our U.S. Army. So what is Major General Eisenhower going to do about this? That one of his missing soldiers, distinguished honor graduate for basic training in AIT, a whistleblower, and the very first Vanessa Guillen absent soldier, um, he's going to let others threaten Richard's life and disrespect Richard like this? I mean, ask yourself, at what, when have we had enough? For us, it came soon because of the loss of our son. So, but this is absolutely a national security threat, and it's also a national theft, because they're stealing millions and millions, billions. Matter of fact, the Pentagon, trillions of dollars unaccounted for. And, when you think of it, that's really nothing compared to the 85,000 missing children from just 2021 and 2022 from Fort Bliss. So the level of crime is huge, and the level of theft is huge, huge. And we're not getting anything except for criminal activity and cover up. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Fear, fear, cover up, and criminal activity. Fraud, waste, and abuse. That's what we're getting. So, yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on. Um, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much. Oh, I see. No, thank you. Good evening, Mama Halliday, joining late tonight. Thank you so much. We're burning the midnight oil, and we love you. Rob always says, don't forget, we love you for sticking with us for so long, for our military sake, because they're under assault, right? They're under assault by their very own. With leaders like this, who needs enemies, right? With leaders like FBI agent um, uh, uh, Nieto, who needs enemies? With Soto, who needs enemies? With Major General Eisenhower, who needs enemies? With Martin, who needs enemies? I mean, these people are enemies of our own, and we need accountability. We need to clean up. We need to clean up house. Yeah. So thank you so much. God bless you. And yeah, this was a good day. Thank you for the peaceful night. God bless you. Bye bye.